Hey, hey, hey. This message is for all us mothers who are raising children. God bless you. It's a hard job to do nowadays, whether you got 1 or 10. Imagine if you have 10, you have 10 times the job of 1. Wow, but that's blessed. Anyway, today's video, I want to talk about mental health. Yes, mental health. Why? Well, because I can. And I want you to know what I want to tell you. So here we go. Anyway, hi, my name is Allison. I know I was a little silly there, but in all seriousness, I want to talk a little bit about mental health and children. Listen, in today's society, raising a child is really difficult. It's difficult not only for us parents, but just as, or if not more difficult, for the children themselves. You know, we want to give our children the best we can give them. We want to give them things that we never had. Or if we did have it, we want to make it a more pleasurable experience for them. It's like going on round number 2 for you. You've already been through it. But, you know, all in all, we want to give our children what we didn't have, or again, as I said, relive in the moment of your childhood. And that's a beautiful thing. And that's what raising a kid is all about. But while you're raising your kid, sometimes we notice some types of behaviors that really don't seem too normal, but we let it pass. And we don't really give it any mind. We just think, oh, that's the way our kid is, or yeah, he's just, that's who he is, but we don't realize that maybe there's some kind of imbalance. Listen, all children are beautiful. There's nothing wrong with it. There's absolutely zero discrimination. As a matter of fact, I am a voice to children with special needs. But anyway, so, when you see kind of imbalances in a child, like just doing things that you really don't see other children his age doing, it's always worth checking it out. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's really who he is. Or maybe there is really something there and you caught it early enough where you'll be so successful at getting him over the hump that he needs to get over as he goes through, these next few years of if he's, just starting school, in elementary school. And the earlier you catch these things, the more help there is. He gets more help because he's early. And it's really important. And I tell parents all the time, don't be in denial because you're only denying help for your kid. Some kids, example, ADHD, ADD, autism, some have anxiety, there's just so many. There's so many disorders that, we can catch them in time and we can give help to our kids. We could teach them early how to look for signs, how to handle our emotions. It's just a whole bunch more of things we could do for our children when we detect things early. And, as they grow, their, of course, minds grow. And this is for all children in general. And, our children start learning and finding who they are and who they want to be, even though it may seem that they're little and there's no way possible they know what they want to be. Don't always think that, because some kids really do have a passion for something, and as they grow, their passion grows with it. So I prefer to have a child get bored of something and know I've given him what he once had passion with, or she, that he outgrew it, versus never to give it to him and let him grow up and later in life say, if mom would have only understood that this is what I wanted and I wanted more of the surroundings so I could develop myself more. I don't want that. I don't want the regret. I don't want that. I always made sure whatever my son was happy with, what he wanted, what made him happy, that I gave it. It was always basketball. I did everything possible with basketball. I bought tickets, always as a reward. I bought tickets. I would send a friend, his mentor, me, and each of his sisters to games where he interacted with each of us on a private time, one-on-one, as rewards, as he did good in school. And of course he enjoyed it. That's what his passion was and still is. Oh, yeah, he's all into basketball. And I always I said I want to do everything I can to do with basketball that I can get him involved with. That way tomorrow, if he doesn't become that basketball player, he'll never say, maybe if mom would have done this or that. So I never, I try to cover all ends, or maybe there is something he might say, but I don't think so. I've been very creative in doing things with him with basketball. But anyway, so we always want to look out for our child's mental health. Talking down on a child is not a good thing. You always want to uplift the child. I know people say, yeah, but they'll never learn, but this and that. But you know what? If you lift a child, instead of put that child down, that child's always going to be lifted. He's going to have good self-esteem. He's not going to look down on himself in pity because you make him feel that way. He's going to feel pumped up because you're always, telling him things, even if he did wrong, you're telling him it in a way that's a positive way for him to see the vision of what you're trying to tell him. Yes, I know all kids don't think, or, some of them are defiant, especially our teenage boy, my son, very defiant. But at the end, he'll always come back and we compromise. So that's the goodness with my son, is he doesn't just be defiant and then not compromise. So we always come out, with each other winning. And that's just the relationship him and I have. And I try to always keep it that way. But our children, as they grow, again, their minds grow, their way of thinking grows, their who they are, they're changing, and as they become teens, now here you have a child turning into a young adult, and he has visions differently than you now. I mean, he wants to hang out with his friends. He doesn't want to hang out with mom anymore. Luckily, I don't have that problem, but my son is always with his girlfriend. But I prefer for him to be over there than to be on the streets, roaming around, not knowing where he's at. Even though he always tells me where he's at, where he's going, when he's leaving, and the whole 9 yards. Again, we have that open communication. And it's really important that parents do have that open communication because we need it. If our kids close up on us, then how are we going to know how they feel? We have to understand and learn how to keep that communication going. My thing, I don't know, my boy has just always been an honest boy, but I always told him, if you lie, things are going to be a lot worse than if you tell the truth. And as he told me the truth when he was little, I'm not going to say I never reprimanded him or gave him time out or, gave him a lesson. No, he always got it, but it was reduced. But the way I always handled the situation with my son was, if he did something wrong, I would make him, mostly in school, because he did a lot of silly things in school. Not bad things, just dumb, silly things. And what I would have him do is he would have to apologize. He would have to write a little note to whoever he did, whatever he did to. He would have to watch a YouTube video and then explain what he learned from the whole experience. Never had a problem again. That was it. He never repeated that again. He would go on to something else and be creative and do another dumb thing. But there was never anything malicious or never anger, never had a fight. Always the most calmest kid. I mean, and he wasn't on medication. He was only on medication for 2 years for ADHD. But we did everything without medication. It was just, not all kids could, of course, I know. Some kids absolutely need the medication to keep them calm. Some learn how to adjust, while others have to be on medication for sometimes their life. And that's okay. Whatever adjusts the kid. But at least they're being addressed. At least the problem's not being ignored. Now, when I had my son on the medication, I just wanted to see what it would do, how it would affect him, or help him in positive ways. I wanted to look at the cons and pros of the medication. I gave him headache, gave him nausea, but it gave him good concentration, and that's what we needed. But after 2 years, he said he didn't need it. He didn't want to do it anymore. When he turned 13, we stopped it. So from 11 to 13, he was on it. He stopped it all on his own, never had a problem. So some kids, I guess, naturally outgrow it, and I don't have any problems with him anymore. With just concentrating and focus, which that will always be. He'll always have that issue. But all of the other symptoms of ADHD is bye-bye for years now. Actually, once he hit puberty is when he went over the peak, and then he came down and everything changed. He was a brand new kid, voice changed, emotion, everything. And so he is who he is today. He's a gentleman. He's been raised right. I built a very strong foundation. I've always kept him, away from harm, scenes that little kids don't need to be around or see, or I've always protected him that way. Now he's a big boy and I can't do that anymore. Now he's got to learn life. But I always observe his mental health. I always see where his state of mind is. I always, if he looks depressed or if there's something wrong, I don't have a doorknob on his door. Of course, I don't go in his room anyway. Anybody who has an ADHD kid will know why. But I always want to know that he's not in his room with the door locked and I don't know what he's doing. And I'm always listening to his conversations. It's not eavesdropping because he's talking and I could hear it. And if I find out that it's, conversation, then maybe somebody's bothered, because a lot of his friends look at him as a therapist. So he's forever giving advice to his friends, calming his friends down, stopping them from crying, the whole 9 yards. And that's because of a reflection of me, that he's always seen me doing it. So he's really, really also good with the mind. And I'm proud of that. And I'm proud of the boy that I built. And yet he's still finding himself. So when he talks in those conversations with his friends and all, I'll ask him. I'm like, oh, what's going on with your girlfriend? Or, oh, what happened with, and then he'll tell me the story. He doesn't just say, oh, Mom, don't worry about it. It's not your business. No, because he knows I'm going to give him good advice. I'm not just going to, not give him advice. So mental health is really important to all you parents out there. Everybody who has a child, look out for their mental health. Don't let people down them. Don't let people call your children names. Don't do it. I know our emotions sometimes get out of whack. We're frustrated. We're stressed. We have deadlines we got to meet. We got doctors to visit. You have work to complete. You got school. You got homework. You got projects. Of course, sometimes if you're a single parent, you have all that. Plus, you got to cook. You got to clean, wash clothes. I get it. And we get over burden, and anything will make us tick, and the one that we can mostly take it out on is our children. But it's really wrong to do that, because you don't see the psychological damage you're doing. I know some people are like, yeah, screw you. Hey, listen, I'm telling you, society has a lot of messed up people, and it all starts when they were a kid. So I'm not making this crap up. Okay, I've studied it, I've looked at it. I mean, listen, whatever you do to your children today, it's going to reflect there tomorrow, one way or another. It could be in a positive way, or it could be in a negative way. In my son's view, it's in a positive way. Absolutely. I gave him a very strong foundation, and he's beginning to fly, and he's flourishing and shining what I taught him. And he mimics me. And I'm very proud of that, because I never showed him things that he doesn't need to see. So I'm proud of that. And, that's what we need to do. When we see, a kid, in distress or whatever, let's help these kids. Kids need help. It takes a village to raise a kid. And, if you're always downing on your kid and telling your kid he's worthless, or I should have never had you, or you shouldn't be my kid, or listen, that does damage to them. Uplift them. You got a problem with your kid? Give him positive reasons why he should do the right thing or do something different, instead of telling him why he shouldn't do it. Okay? And I know it's hard. I know some kids are defiant, like I said earlier. I know kids are hard-headed. I get it. But listen, they're our kids. And it's our responsibility to raise them to be successful in life. I mean, listen, they're going to be a mother or a father. They're going to be an employee. They might be an employer. I mean, there's so many things that, we want to prepare them for. And why fail them? Why? Why fail your kid? Because of your selfishness and not wanting, and laziness, and not wanting to teach them, or thinking that they're not old enough yet, or no. It's never too early to start teaching your kids. No, just age appropriate, of course. You're not going to teach a kid a 16-year-old thing at the age of 4. But, as they grow 7, 8 years old, and, you start, only 4 years away before they're a preteen, well, you start giving them, like little tips or little examples, or, little things. And listen, teach them how to be independent early. Yes, they could put their clothes in the laundry. They could fold their clothes. Why not? They can learn how to wash dishes. Listen, they may not do it perfect at their age, but you know what? They have the idea. They have the concept. Let them sweep. Let them mop. It doesn't matter. Give them rewards. Give an incentive if they do it. It's a win-win situation. You are teaching them a valuable lesson, even if you have to go over it again, because the kid's not going to do it perfect. But you're teaching them. At an early age, you're giving them a jump start. And they are the ones who are benefiting not once, but twice, because they're learning and they're being rewarded for it. So that's the way I look at it. Get kids busy. It's good for them. I get my grandkids here. Listen, we got a routine here. I mean, they'll tell you, oh, you go to grandma's house, you have to, if I pick them up from daycare, and now school, you have to take a shower. If they have homework, eat, and then you get to have enjoyments. Play with your tablet, play with the toys, but there's a structure, there's a routine, and they know that. And I don't break the routine. I keep it, because my brain is so used to doing it with my son that it's just an automatic. Okay, and there's ways how, I mean, I can go on and on. I don't want to make this video so boring for everybody, but there's just so many ways. If anybody wants to know more info, please let me know. I don't want to carry this on, but, mental health, parents, look out for the best for your child's mental health in all you do, in school, at home, how they're approached. Be careful they're not being bullied. Don't have, if they're being bullied, you stop that immediately. I would hope that parents out there that are listening, that you don't beat your kids. Kids don't need to be beat. Do they need to be spanked once in a while? Yes. Beat to a pulp? No. There's no reason for that. Okay, they're little. Your strength is much more powerful than theirs. They can't defend themselves. There's no way. Why would you want to do that? Why? That makes you a coward. I'm sorry if I offended anybody. But if you beat a child, you're a coward, because a child is helpless. Spank a child, okay. Punish a child within their scope of age and understanding, okay. But don't torture a child. There's no need for that. You're giving them psychological long life issues. Trust me. A lot of people tell me, oh, my mom and my dad, they used to do this and they used to do that to me. And look, I came out. Trust me, somewhere in there, they're they have little issues. Trust me, it taunts you. Some people know how to live with it and understand it and forget it. That's possible. It is. I do believe in that. But others, it sticks with them and it affects them somewhere in their life. Okay? Let's not damage our children. God bless you. Keep doing an amazing job to all those parents who are doing all that you can for your kid to give them that successful life that they deserve. May the Lord bless you, your home, your families, and your life. Thank you.